All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks very much for joining the call. We will start in a couple of minutes, aware there's folks still joining. You'll see recording has started just now. I don't think you're able to sort of speak anyway at the moment, but that will absolutely change later on. And we'll stop the recording and look forward to a bit of discussion later on, but a chance to get a bit of an update first. We'll wait 1 minute before we start. So while we do that, we'll maybe just say hello, Derek and I, and maybe ask you to post a message in the chat if you are up for that as well, just to let us know where you are and the kind of context you're working in. So my name's Graham. I work in Education Scotland in our curriculum team, which is where we put all this work about profiling and learner profiles. And I am on tonight or this afternoon with my colleague Derek, who might want to say hello.
Yep. Hello, I'm Derek Hawthorne. I work in the Digital Services team at Skills Development Scotland. Been working with Graham on this Scotland's learner profile and profiling achievements for quite a while.
So great to see everybody joining. If you can do as Sharon has done straight away there and just give us a wee sentence in the chat, that would be great. Which part of Scotland are you in? The context you're working in would be fantastic. What we're going to do this afternoon is I'll start with a bit of background just to give a bit of context in the story about the point that we're at now and how we got here, because there's a couple of things in there that is probably important to know and hopefully helpful to know. After I've done that, I'll stop sharing my screen. Derek will take us through a demonstration of the learner profile and what's available there, and give us a wee nod about kind of some of the features and a chance to look at all that. Once we've done that, we'll stop the recording. Your cameras will magically kind of be able to work. You'll be able to take yourself off mute, and it would be great just to have a bit of discussion. Aware, this is the first in a series of webinars that we're doing this month as we kind of scale up the exploratory work that's been done over the last couple of years. So this one is kind of pitched and badged as an introduction to the profile. So it's deliberately that that kind of intro and backstory and a demo. So my guess is colleagues on the call have either maybe only used it a little bit or just not even had a chance to look at it yourselves. So a chance for a bit of discussion about your reactions to what you hear and see tonight would be brilliant. If anybody has begun kind of exploring some of these tools with children and young people, it would be great to hear your thoughts as well. But we've got other webinars that are more kind of focused on people sharing practice, one tomorrow and over the next wee while as well. So great to see some folk posting in the chat about where you are and see kind of people sitting in staff rooms and things like that, which is fantastic. So thanks everybody for joining. If you've not yet, stick a wee note in the chat just to let us know who you are and where you are and the kind of context you're working in. And we'll make a bit of a start just now, I think. So this is an introduction to Scotland's learner profile. And the first thing I would want to make sure that we're really clear about is this is not my work. It's not Derek's work. What we're talking about this afternoon represents the work of a national co-design group. So that's been about 90 colleagues who have been working really for the last 2 years. So they came together about 2 years ago to explore, and that's what we called it, an exploration to start with, this whole business around learner profiles, e-portfolios, profiling achievements, capturing achievements, all of these kind of terms that we've been using really for about the last 15 years to kind of consider some of the things that had been working well in pockets, accept and sort of spend a bit of time thinking about, oh, this is not something we've managed sustainably or meaningfully for every learner. Often when we've tried to do things like this, we've ended up with bits of work that are really, really time intensive or take a lot of time from youngsters, a lot of time from adults who are supporting them. So the group came together to explore all of that. That's been a phenomenal group to work with because it has had people who are working with children and young people every single day in early years, primary and secondary schools, colleges, universities, and employers have all been represented. Really strong representation from the third sector, from community learning and development. Anybody who had kind of an interest in this work and was willing to talk to us has met in person and online over the last couple of years. And they've come up with a set of recommendations, and the overarching recommendation is that one on the screen there now, right? That we need a national approach to this work. We need some national digital tools to support it, and we need a stronger kind of national approach. So the group then, once they come up with that recommendation, set about exploring, well, what do we need to do to take that forward? So their work is based on kind of service design principles. So they really bought into that. So that was everybody exploring the questions, going back to talk to the children and young people in their own context, to talk to other head teachers, to talk to other employers, to come and to kind of synthesize that research and use that to guide the next steps about how we got to how we take the work forward and how we get to the next place that we're in today. One of the first things that the group looked at was the language around this work. People explored the question, first of all, is actually profiling the right kind of term to be using? The group that came back and the research that came back agreed that it was, but that we needed to be clearer about our definitions. So the group developed some working definitions. You can see them on the screen just now. Everybody agreed in the room that all the stuff on the left-hand side of the screen was much, much more important than whenever you store it. And we saw lots of different examples of where you store it. But everybody agreed, really rich experiences that help young people see their skills explicitly, conversations with young people that scaffold that whole process of reflection, that help them grow in their ability to understand themselves, to talk about where they are in their learning, where they're going next, how they know they're good at something, what they might do to get better at something. Those really rich conversations, experiences and conversations, much, much more important than where you store it. But there was a lot of discussion around how the fact that we didn't all use the same thing in terms of capturing that. People used different software tools and packages that they had maybe bought in or they developed themselves. So quite often the expertise lay with one teacher or one practitioner in a setting, and if they moved, then the whole thing kind of fell down, or they bought in something that maybe we could, only pay for a couple of years, and it wasn't the same thing as the school down the road used. Big challenges about how, the group had this aspiration that something like a learner profile should help you take your story of who you are and where you are in your learning throughout your learner journey from 3 to 18, could be really, really helpful at points of transition. But if we're going to do that, we'd all have to use the same thing, and we didn't have a thing that really met children and young people's needs. We didn't have a thing that was free for all young people to use. So a really kind of helpful bit of exploration around that work. Another thing that's really, really important to say is that children and young people and the voice of children and young people has been central to this all the way through. So the group spent a lot of time, the adults are talking about how, things that we've invented, previous national attempts at this were maybe designed by a bunch of adults without asking youngsters what they wanted, what would support them to use a digital profile, who they'd want to share things with, what they'd want to put in it, all of that kind of stuff. Why do young people want to put half their life on platforms that we maybe wish they weren't using, but they didn't want to use these great things that we dreamt up for them? So Derek commissioned Humanly, a service design organisation, to take the themes that the adults were talking about and explore them in a lot more detail with children and young people. Really careful to get a good sample of children and young people, so over 100 children and young people from different settings within the country, different kinds of settings, different communities, to make sure that this work was really kind of well explored with children and young people in that initial design phase, and at every step as we've gone through, as we've been testing and prototyping things. Some other things that the group discovered, so lots of people recognizing how this work could be really, really important and really, really powerful for youngsters at key points in their learning, about helping them make sense of all the content that they might come across in a school classroom, in a school but beyond the classroom, in all the aspects of their lives that could help young people make connections between the learning that they do in all different contexts. That came through really, really strongly. There was a really strong message from employers that anything that we can do that supports young people to talk about their skills and strengths in language that's recognizable to employers would be really, really helpful. And the kind of quotation there, that's from a college lecture, that's a specific one about, kind of young people arriving at college, but we heard this from people working at every kind of layer, and actually from young people themselves, about this gap between the rich assets and strengths that a young person can be full of at that point of wanting to leave school, and can have so much to offer a future employer, offer to college, offer to university, offer to the world, but not able to talk about it, not able to give examples, not able to kind of tell their own story to others. So these all came through, and this led to a big discussion about purpose. There was lots of time spent on why we might have a learner profile, and you could do lots of things with it. You could build lots of really interesting things around, if we've got something that's capturing a lot more inclusive data around a much wider range of achievements, that could be really interesting and helpful for us as a country. But first and foremost, the group settled on this is something that's about supporting an individual youngster to know themselves, to understand where they are in their learning, and to be able to use that to help plan the next steps in their learner journey. So totally tied up with knowing themselves as a learner, with being able to shape and influence their own learning, but also something that is useful to them around the times of when they're making choices. And that choice might be, I'm in primary 6. What's the project I'm going to do next, or the big question that I'm interested in, or the skills that I can bring to a piece of inquiry-based learning? Or it might be thinking about choices and opportunities and planning my learner journey in the senior phase or beyond school. So the group kind of settled on these core purposes. One of the things that's been really interesting with this work, partly initially when the group started out, we were really careful to use that word exploration. There was a lot of things going on, big national discussion, big review of assessment and qualifications. We knew there was going to be some kind of change to curriculum. We didn't know it was going to be called the curriculum improvement cycle and what that was going to look like. But all of that was going on, and the group, we were really clear this was about giving teachers, practitioners and partners the chance to think through all the practical stuff. And we don't often get that. Sometimes in education, things can be kind of top down and we're not given the time to think through all the practical stuff. Sometimes it can be bottom up, and the ideas that have come from people who are working with children and young people every day don't always make it into decision making. We think we've got both, well, actually 3 things going on with this work. The practical things that Derek is going to show you are absolutely based on all the discovery work that was done by teachers and practitioners, all the user research with children and young people, and we've had a couple of quite kind of helpful framings from the Cabinet Secretary as well when she responded in Parliament to the review of qualifications, was really clear about highlighting this profile as a way forward. And in the document that's on the right hand side of the screen, which was the kind of timeline for curriculum and qualifications review, talks about the curriculum improvement cycle over the next few years. Scotland's learner profile, as kind of Derek is going to show you in a minute, is seen there tonight. I think we've got, it was in your CPD, Michael, so we will come to Michael for questions about it later. But I think it might just be really helpful for people to kind of have a look at that and see that there is kind of a commitment from government around this work as well. So that's important. What do we think we're doing? And I'm on to my last couple of slides now before I hand over to Derek to actually kind of show us. We hope this is something that will be put an asset now into what colleagues on this call might be trying to do around that whole context of personal achievement and capturing the really, really broad and rich range of learning that goes on for children and young people. We hope it's something that's helpful around supporting those regular conversations with an adult who knows you well and can talk about your learning. And we wonder, in a few years' time, as we move forward through the next steps of the curriculum improvement cycle, could this be something that's useful to us as a country more broadly, right? So I've just referred to paper 3, the third of the papers that were published about the curriculum improvement cycle. That talks about interdependencies. So if we're going to get curriculum improvement right, other things are going to have to change as well. One of those being performance measures. So in time is a national digital learner profile that's got this really inclusive data in it, that's got the kind of things young people are saying about their distance travelled and growth. Is that something that can help us with better performance measures? The Scottish Diploma of Achievement is proposed as a kind of a direction of travel for our country just now, but we know that we need more things around the practical enabling of that. Is a learner profile something that could put a real asset into that space and take us forward, because it gives young people somewhere they can capture learning practically in a project, capture learning in a personal pathway that is not really, really quick and easy for them to use. It's not really bureaucratic for them, not really bureaucratic or time consuming for the adults who might be supporting them, and all those kinds of things. So this is what we hope we're doing. Be good to get reflections on that. Where are we now? Derek will show you the tools that are available now for young people from primary 5 to senior phase. We are already seeing from the practitioners who've been involved in the kind of first stages of research and feeding back about this, that it has got the potential to, and is already beginning to add value in things like curriculum design, around transition. We are exploring next steps about where it goes. And I guess that's a question to everybody on the call this afternoon. When you see this, what does this make you think about now in terms of these things? And what else does it need to be a real game changer? Because that co-design group is continuing. The regular engagement with children and young people and opportunities for them to feedback is continuing. And Derek will touch on maybe some of the future possibilities, but we're quite excited about where this goes. But we need, and that's the reason for the second part of the call being a discussion and not a broadcast. We need your views. We need to understand how this lands with children and young people as we scale up and have more and more settings involved this year. So I'll pause there. I'm going to hand over to Derek to take us through the practical stuff. And then after that, it would be great to get some comments and feedback, whether that's in the chat or people coming on camera and talking.
Fantastic. Thanks, Graham. I shall just share my screen if you bear with me one moment. Hopefully you can see that. I've just moved to Windows 11, so we've all been through a bit of an upgrade recently, so I'm finding my way around with the different tools. So do bear with me. This is the homepage of My World of Work. Hopefully you're all familiar with My World of Work. Been around for many years. 2011 was the first release of My World of Work, and it's been through a couple of significant redevelopments. Last June, they launched a completely rebuilt web service and with a number of different enhancements. And in January, we introduced the profile. So we have two tools that I'm going to show you today, the My Achievements tool and the My Profile tool. So you can go into them in a few different ways. From the homepage, the easiest way is to go in through, well, one of the ways actually is to go through tools and quizzes and here, and you can scroll down to different tools and you can see My Achievements and My Profile sitting side by side. So I'm going to show you My Achievements first. As Graham said, we've been getting, right from the start, we were working with young people to design this up, and we've gone out and tested with young people as well just before the summer break, which gave us loads of insights into maybe some little issues. So we've made quite a bit of adjustments. So you'll see this for the first time, and I'll explain maybe a couple of the changes we've made, and others that are maybe familiar with it will recognise those changes. The way it works with any one of our tools, you come onto a landing page that explains what it is, benefits of it, and why you should use it. So here you've got the celebrating your achievements, and it's important that you can build your library of all your achievements. You can go to your achievements. So if you've already got a bank of achievements that you've built up, you can go to them, or you can add a new achievement. If you want to find out a bit more, there's a video here. You can play the video. It's about 45, 50 seconds long, really short, snappy video that introduces what achievements are all about. And you can also get a bit of supporting text there just around what achievements are all about. So I'll go up the top and I shall add an achievement as if I'm coming to this for the first time, or any time that I'm adding an achievement. The interface has changed quite a bit here. The language has changed for one thing. We tested some of the language, some of the titles and supporting text wasn't as user-friendly as it could be for young people. And on the right-hand side, what we've done now, instead of having little information boxes here that you could click on and bring up information about something you're proud of, or the title of your achievement as it used to be, you can go to the right-hand side here, and there's a series of prompts here that ask you some questions around the types of things you might be thinking about. So this gives you some ideas, and you can generate more ideas if you're still thinking about what an achievement might be and trying to spark imagination or resonate with something that you've done. So you can go in and you can put in the title of something that you're proud of. So I'm going to put in So I played Subbuteo yesterday. I was in a charity shop in Edinburgh and bought Subbuteo. So I've played it, but I have aspirations to be the champion of my house at Subbuteo and probably further beyond that. But there we go. I played Subbuteo yesterday. I'm really proud of that. I enjoyed my first game and I enjoyed it much more than I thought I might. So I can go in and put in a description of telling you a bit more about that. And what we heard from young people when we were designing this was they wanted to capture something that helped them to reflect back. They might forget what they did, they might forget what they learned, they might forget why they were proud. So just to capture that here, and you'll see on the right hand side again, we've got some questions there just to prompt users into the type of thing that might go there. It's optional, so you don't have to put something in. It's 500 characters long, so we're not looking for a massive bit of information, but just a short thing that can jog the memory and you can go back to it. So I won't put something in there just for speed. The default is the month that the achievement took place or the month we're in. You can go back up to 10 years and put in a historic date there. So you can just select different month and you can select different year. So back to 2015, as you can see. And you can select where that achievement took place. So we've added a couple of categories here. So home and fitness might have been the ones that were added, and other as well, just for anything else that might not fit neatly under one of those categories. So what will I put for that one? That's a home one. And you can also optionally add an image if you want to. So I'll go and choose an image. I can add that and I can rotate it and zoom in if I want to and save that, and I can delete it or edit it if I'm not happy with that image, and I can save and continue. So the next thing that we heard is that skills are really important. So young people said, yeah, I've done something I'm proud of, I've achieved something, but there's this sense that they're building up all these achievements and doing all these activities and they're developing their skills. And that was something that came through in some settings and didn't come through in others where skills maybe weren't so embedded. Again, this has changed a little bit where you can go in and find out about a particular skill. If you're not sure about what a particular skill is, it appears on the right-hand side, and you can select the skill. So there's a little description. There's some examples of what's included within a skill. And you can select as many skills as you think you've developed in that achievement. So I'll just select a couple of them, and I can finish adding my achievement. And that just takes you right through to your achievements library. And this is designed to look and feel like a bit of a social wall where you've got all these little cards of all your achievements, and you can go in and view an achievement. You can add one to your favourites board. So you'll see up the top here, you've got all my achievements and you've got my favourites. Again, that was a best of board, and young people said that they considered those as favourites, and the little hearts kind of connected that as well. So you can go in and you can add some from all of your achievements to your best of board if you want to do that. And you can go in and you can view an individual achievement. You can see there, you get all the information that you've added. You can edit the achievement and you can close the achievement. Up the top here at the little kebab menu, you can go in and you can edit your achievement and delete your achievement from there. And you can also add a new achievement from the achievements board. So what we were hearing was this was really useful for young people to capture things they've done or achievements they might not be recognising, but as they're going through them, they're capturing them. Therefore, they've got a bank of achievements that they might build up over time that they can reflect on. They can build their self-value, build that worth of all the different things that they've done and the skills they've been developing as they've been going through all those achievements. And they can have conversations with adults that know them well, whether that's a teacher, parent, careers advisor, whoever it may be. So that's the Achievements Library, pretty useful tool just on its own. I'll go back and just take you into the profile. So the profile is a more holistic view of who you are and what you're good at, so you can tell that full story of yourself. Again, you're into a landing page, so it tells you a little bit about the profile. You can get underway and build your profile if you want to. You'll see here on the right-hand side, we have a little robot. That's Pip, your profile intelligence partner. So as we were shaping this up with young people, they were saying it can be quite daunting as you go into the profile. There's lots of different sections. Where do I start? Or as I'm going through and completing it, I'm not sure what to put in certain places. So rather than it just be tech support, we've kind of brought in Pip, a little personality here that supports you and guides you through. And Pip has been testing amazingly well as we've been going out. Again, a little video that introduces the profile, short and snappy, a little bit of text that tells you a little bit about the benefits, and then some information on some of the sections you're going to be working on. And at the bottom here, you can go in and build your profile from here. So I'm going to just start at the About Me section, because the very first time you come to this is the view you get. You don't get into all the sections of the profile. So you can go in and you can choose your settings. You can go in and choose if you're in primary school, P1 to 7, secondary school, S1 to S6. So in primary school, we've designed this primary 5 up. We know it's getting used a little bit further down the primary school, and we've got work that we're just about to embark on appointing a contractor to look at early years and early primary as well. So we're looking to expand that down to earlier in the primary school and into early years. So you can select where you are. You can select a school name. So, oops, excuse my typing. Clydeview Academy, and you can continue. And you'll see Pips there on the right-hand side. That's the kind of standard sort of layout where Pip is guiding you along. We heard a lot about personalisation. We would like to do more on personalisation. We've introduced little avatars. They're predefined avatars, so you can select one that you think fits with you or you're happiest with, and go through and you can see all the little descriptions there. Quite playful language. Pick an avatar that you want. The next thing is to write a little description about yourself. So I've got this pre-populated. The first time you come to this, it's a blank box. And when we were doing the initial design, young people were saying that can be quite daunting, you know, being faced with a box to put some information in about yourself. So we have a tool called Animal Me. It's a little personality quiz, the most popular tool in my world of work, where you answer some questions and you get an animal, and the animal's got a lot of traits that resonates with your personality type. So it's the sort of Myers-Briggs personality type. So you can use the results from your Animal Me to pull those through. And this is a statement from Animal Me. You can then go in and you can amend that and adjust it into a statement that you're happy with about yourself. But that's quite a useful little prompt if you're struggling. Similarly, you can use Animal Me if you're putting in 3 words to describe you. So Animal Me has 3 words to describe you, and you can pull those through. And again, you can just delete those or type over them. And you'll see on the right-hand side here, my little profile is building up here as I've been adding to it. And you can continue. So that's the very first step. You've got your avatar, your name, your school, year group, statement about you, and 3 words to describe you, and Pip's encouraging you to continue on and build your profile. So the way this is done, this is on a new resolution laptop for me because I've changed over the summer, so it's a slightly different layout than I'm used to, but it adjusts to fit your screen. And we designed this mobile first, so all the little cards that you've got here fit really neatly on mobile, and I should have said the achievement board as well is designed that way so that it works really well on a mobile and you can scroll through and navigate really neatly. So you'll see there's a range of different sections here. You can share your profile up the top here. I'll come back to that. You've got this first section you've completed about you. You've got your goals and ambitions, my achievements, personal values, qualifications. I'll come back to this little one. You've got your skills, what I love to learn about, and hobbies. So I'll just take you through these really quickly, just for a quick overview. So if you've been adding multiple goals, you can tab through them. So you'll see I've got one there for Pret meeting focus. So I was in Pret for one of a call similar to this, and I was trying to focus, and I thought I did okay. So that went down as an achievement for me, and I can pass my exams as well. That's another one that I was aiming towards as an S4 pupil. You can also mark a goal as complete, and you'll see there it just ticks that off, and Pip suggests you might want to add that to your achievements library if you've not done that. So you can click there and add it in as an achievement. And if you've been adding your achievements over time, you can go, your goals over time and completing them. You can see here that you've got all your completed goals in one space, and we've heard that's pretty useful for just seeing the things you've managed to do and building that confidence, and also things to have a conversation about. We've also heard as you've been adding achievements or thinking about the next things you might do or thinking about building skills, you might then add a goal there as well. For your achievements, you can go in and you can select the achievements you want to pull through to your profile. So you can select as up to 5 achievements. So I've selected 3 achievements, and you'll see the little categories here on the left that they apply to, and with the 2 blanks that I can add more to my profile. So you can go in and you can delete the ones that are there, and you can select the ones that you want to put in. So I'll just put in the pyramid run, and you'll see it appears there on the left hand side, and I can add it to my profile, and it pulls through to my achievements. And then if I go through my achievements, you can see achievements for the pyramid run one there as well. So you can select up to 5 there, and you can add directly from your achievement as well, directly from that little widget. So personal values we designed with young people. When we were going out into lots of different settings, we saw personal values up on walls quite a lot, and young people were telling us that personal values were really important to them. So we designed a set of 10 personal values, and you can select 3 values that you want for you. So you'll see each one has got a title, little icon, an illustration, and a little descriptor of what the value is. So you can go in and you can select them. You'll see as you do that, they appear side, and you can delete them from either side. Just to add the 3 values that you want in your profile. You can add in your qualifications. So briefly, I'll just go here and you can select on the left-hand side whether it's a qualification or award that you're wanting to add. For now, it's a manual input of your qualification. So you can go in and type in the level, the result, and you can save the qualification. When you do that, it appears as a card here on the left-hand side, and you can add those and build them up, and then you can add to your profile. And the same for an award. So you can go in and you can select an award, pretty much the same, slightly different information. You can save the award, and then it adds on the left-hand side, and you can add to your profile. And you can then just tab through your multiple awards that you've got there. We heard a lot about achievements and skills being connected together. So we tried to bring the achievements and skills together in the profile. This is really a first start. We know there's more we want to do with skills. We've heard a lot about being able to self-reflect, think about your skills journey, think about how your skills have been developing over time. But what we've got is a talking tool here as a starting point to think about your skills and think about where you might want to develop your skills. So as you've been adding your achievements, you've been tallying the number of times you've been tagging each skill in the background. So you'll see here I've got 9 for leading and I've got 16 for collaborating. So maybe suggests I enjoy collaborating, or it's something I've done often, and it suggests maybe leading is something I've not had opportunities to do or I don't enjoy. And that just opens up a conversation for a teacher and a practitioner and a young person, a parent, young person, to talk about skills and think about skills they might want to develop and maybe opportunities to develop those skills. You can go in and refresh your chart just to update it to the current date. So I'll just show you that. So if you refresh chart, you see the date comes up to 8th September. So anything that I've added since June will just be added in there. And you can choose either a bar chart or a pie chart. What I love to learn about is anything you love to learn about. You can choose up to 6 things. So you'll see I've got 5 here, and you can type in anything you love to learn about. So I was already on looking at the Subbuteo stadiums and fences around the outsides and all sorts of stuff last night. So you can learn a lot about Subbuteo. And you can remove anything you want from the list as well. So you can just free type in anything you love to learn about. There's a popular picks list that we've tried to make quite varied. You can select and it appears up here in alphabetical order up above. There you go. Pip's telling you that you got your 6, and you can add them to your profile. So you can just go ahead and add to your profile. Hobbies and interests. We heard young people talking about hobbies and interests a lot. We felt there was a bit of an overlap, but they said they really wanted hobbies and interests as a category, so we've added that in. So it works in the same way as the last widget, where you can have up to 6 things. You can remove things, you can add from popular picks, and you can free type in if you want to add something in to your profile. And that's the key sections of the profile. We've added a little bit of functionality about sharing it, so you can download it. That just gives you a PDF that you can then go into, and you can save it and share it. You can also share a code so that others can access your profile. So we've tried to develop this in a really flexible way. So a practitioner could go in and enter a share code. So they can give a code to their class, and then all the pupils can type in that code. They can then see an overview of all the pupils that are in their group. But it could be used in other ways. It could be shared with a parent potentially, where a pupil can share a code, and then the pupil can connect up if they've got a My With Work account, or with other youth workers, careers advisors, whoever they may be. So this is the first time we've connected up an individual's account with another individual's account. It's always been the account in isolation. So it's quite interesting to see how it's get used as schools are coming back now. And we think there's plenty of potential there for the future as well. So that's just a very quick run through all the background and the different tools that we've got. So